The transfer window is finished and Arsenal fans are divided. I've seen hundreds of fans comment on my videos the last few days, Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea, all talking about their transfer windows, but it's always Arsenal that divide opinion the most. This was supposed to be their year. Last year was supposed to be their year. How much time does Mikel Arteta actually have? We're going to look at Arsenal's top transfers and we're going to look at their departures and we're going to rank their window out of 10. The Premier League season, I can't believe there's an international break. There was such a good flow to it. We saw Arsenal go to Liverpool. We saw Tottenham, Bournemouth. We saw City lose 2 out of the 3 games. And if Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, United or Spurs are in City's position, losing 2 of the opening 3 games, there would be a lot more talk. Let me tell you that right now. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video if you haven't already. And let me know your thoughts. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Yes, you watching right there. These are Arsenal's top transfers this window. This is all in euros because it's via transfermarket.co.uk. Their most expensive signing was Martin Zubimendi at 70 million euros. Now, I believe these deals are all with add-ons included, which is why the fees look a little bit higher than maybe you'd expect. Zubimendi, for me, is a fantastic signing. Now, when Zubimendi first signed, people were losing their minds because is he as good as Thomas Partey? Should they have let Thomas Partey and Jorginho go? And I think Arsenal's game plan was to be more of a controlled team rather than set-piece, counter-attacking, final third threat. I think they want to control games a lot more at home this season. And I think the approach to a lot of their away games is to, at the moment, what it looks like is 1-0 wins and defend and get a clean sheet. Now, it's worked against Manchester United. It didn't work against Liverpool. And Arteta has been massively criticised by not necessarily taking the handbrake off. I think Zubimendi is a fantastic player. 26 years of age, Euro winner, Copa del Rey winner, very, very good passer, can break through defences. Eze, everyone knows my thoughts. I think this will be one of the signings of the window. 27 years of age, can play on the left. You saw what he did when he came on against Dominic Szoboszlai. And if I'm being brutally honest, while Bukayo Saka is out injured, I personally think Arsenal's front three should be Eze on the left, Noni Maduake on the right, and Eze Gyokeres. He's 27. He's an experienced player, Eze. He's turned up in some of the biggest games, scoring the winner in FA Cup final, helping Aston Villa get battered by Crystal Palace. Helping Crystal Palace batter Aston Villa in the semi-final. Really, really good signing. The one below, I don't understand you can criticise him, by all means. But I don't understand, there's trolling and then there's just going overboard. The guy has played 3 Premier League games and has got 2 Premier League goals. He's played in the toughest away game in the Premier League at Anfield away. He played against Manchester United, where he barely really had service. He was given service against Leeds and scored 2 goals. I've seen people call this guy Yok Lesnar, Yok Lukaku, Yok Tur. I get it, it's banter and all that, but don't sleep on this guy. He's got 100 goals in 2 seasons for a reason. He scored a hat-trick against City in the Champions League. He looks a player. He is a player. I don't get some of the narrative about this guy. The one that divided the most amount of opinion is Noni Maduake. And let me break down why I think this is a good signing, but we also need to be slightly critical on Arsenal here. Noni Maduake, for me, is a better winger than Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli. Gabriel Martinelli, if he is not sold in the summer next year, because I highly doubt he leaves in January, Arsenal need a wide player that can consistently run at his man and beat him. Martinelli right now must be one of the easiest wingers, if you're a fullback, to play against. He's absolutely shot to pieces of confidence. He doesn't look like he's got any confidence whatsoever. Leandro Trossard, for me, he's a good player. He's not a great player. He's 30, approaching 31. Noni Maduake is a better player than both of those, and I think that is a good signing in hindsight when you look at what Arsenal could have done. I think they could have got a better player than Noni Maduake. And one guy that I think they should have signed, who I'm actually going to put on the thumbnail of this, is Rodrigo. Rodrigo, for me, made the most sense for Arsenal. He is a left winger. He's played out on the right for Real Madrid. He is that guy who takes Arsenal to the next level. Now that Liverpool have signed Alexander Isak, when you look at Liverpool's team now, there's a fear factor there. There's a fear factor in playing Ekitike, Gakpo, Salah, Wirtz, Isak, Gravenberch, Van Dijk, Alisson. Is there a fear factor about Arsenal? I'm not so sure. If there was a Rodrigo, Saka, Gyokeres front line, I think there is a fear factor. Lots of teams are going to set up completely different when they play Liverpool and Arsenal. Because Arsenal, if they are to win the Premier League title, it will be because of their defence. If Liverpool are to win the Premier League title, it will be because of their attack. If you was to put Arsenal defence with Liverpool's attack, you're talking like one of the greatest sides we've ever seen. Arsenal's defence is absolutely fantastic, right? And when you're playing up against Liverpool's defence, Noni Maduake, Eberechi Eze, and Gyokeres up against that Liverpool back four would have caused more problems than Martinelli. Like, Christian Mosquera comes on. William Saliba is injured in the opening 10 minutes. He comes on and looks calm as anything. At 21 years of age, who can play right back, who can play left back. Like, for me, he's a very, very, very good centre-back. Underrated piece of business. Norgard, another really, really underrated piece of business. £8 or £9 million, whatever it was. Kepa Arrizabalaga, again, I didn't really understand some of the stick this guy got because, you're talking about a guy. When you look through backup goalkeepers in the Premier League, this guy started at Bournemouth last year and had a very good season. He's better than a lot of the goalkeepers in the Premier League. He'd start for West Ham. He'd start for Brighton. He'd start for Wolves. He would start for any of the promoted teams. Would he start for Newcastle? It's debatable because they've got Aaron Ramsdale and Pope. But this guy is barely going to play because they've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So again, I didn't really understand the hate. Piero Hincapie, wanted him at Spurs. Can play left back, can play centre back. A loan deal, which means the transfer will come out of next year's budget. Very good piece of business for Arsenal. Then you look at the departures, right? Tavares, Marquinhos. This is where Arsenal, as a football club, have to improve. They have to improve collectively. Let's just be real with this. They have to improve. They aren't a good club when it comes to selling players. Period. They're not. Tavares, 5 million euros. Marquinhos, 3 million euros. A 2 million euro low fee for Kivior with an obligation to buy for like 20 million. Partey leaves on a free. Tierney leaves on a free. Jorginho leaves on a free. Fabio Vieira. What Arsenal, in an ideal scenario, Alexander Zinchenko, Reece Nelson and Fabio Vieira should all have had obligations to buy. In terms of, look, Tomiyasu got released. How he hasn't got a club is insane. That is insane. He's a good player. He's just bad injuries. They generated 10 million euros from departures. When you look at what they spent, 293 million euros. That is a lot of money. Now, what do we rate their window out of 10? And how much pressure should be on Mikel Arteta? Well, let's start with the pressure on Arteta. The Premier League title race this season for me is going to be very, very interesting. Because there are two things that are out of Arsenal's control. And the first thing is, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If Liverpool get a defensive injury to Virgil van Dijk or Konate, do they have the significant depth to carry on at centre-back? I don't think they do. However, Virgil van Dijk is one of the greatest Premier League centre-backs of all time. And this guy, so far, has only had one big injury in his career, which was an ACL. He might be one of the only players recently, him and Timber, who have recovered from an ACL in the Premier League and done really well. The second thing is, I think Chelsea this season won't be in a title race, but I think they will push Liverpool and Arsenal far. I think Chelsea will be in the race until the end of the January window, and then they will slowly drop off. Man City, I don't think, are in the race throughout the whole season. It's Arsenal versus Liverpool. Their window, for me, I'd give it an 8.5. And I think that's fair. You brought in Gyokeres, you brought in Eze, you brought in two fantastic first-team players. You brought in squad depth of Hincapie, Norgard. You brought in, what's his face? I can't remember the guy's name now. You brought in Noni Maduake. You brought in Norgard. Really good squad depth. The question is, how much pressure is on Arteta? Well, Arteta has been there now. He's been there, what? Brendan Johnson scored 2 goals. I didn't even know that. He's been there, what? 6 years in November. Eventually, like, you hear reports that there isn't internal pressure. I think there should be, because Arsenal's team is good enough to win the Premier League. Like, I personally believe Arsenal's team right now, they should be winning the Premier League. The Liverpool last year had one transfer of a Jurgen Klopp side and won it. This year they've had an unbelievable transfer window. But for me, Arsenal need to push Liverpool all the way. And Arteta in these big, big games has to take the handbrake off. He has to. Away from home, he has to go for the jugular. You can't play like you did against Man United and Liverpool. If you want to win the Premier League, you have to show the intent. And Gary Neville said something on commentary, and I think he's right. Do Arsenal have the mentality to win a Premier League? We'll have to wait and see, but they need to take the handbrake off. Let me know your thoughts on Arsenal's transfer window. Let me know your thoughts on what it tells us about their future. What it tells me about their future is they are serious. They have spent £1 billion of Arteta now. They are serious. They need to just adjust things slightly. Take the handbrake off in the big games. Don't necessarily rely on set pieces as your main threat. And create a system in place that will get Gyokeres the ball in and around the 18-yard box. You do all those three, you win the Premier League. It's as simple as that. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you next time. I'm out.